Welcome. This is Gretchen Mounty, the UUA's Accessibility Resources Coordinator. And this month with UPLIFT Access, we're doing a different format where I interview a fellow disabled UU and we get to learn a little bit about them and accessibility. And today I am excited to get to interview my colleague and friend, Kaden Colton. Kaden serves on the board of EqUUal Access and is a student at the Theological United Theological Seminary of the Twin Cities. Kaden, I'm so happy to be here with you. Would you please introduce yourself to our listeners and give a brief visual description as well?
Sure. Thank you, Gretchen, for inviting me here. My name is Kaden Colton. I am a white, non-binary disabled human. I have uh, short, dirty blonde hair, um, blue eyes, and I also have a dark gray shirt on, a polo shirt. And I am still in process of thawing from the cold temperatures outside.
Yeah, thank you, Kaden. And I forgot to give my own visual description, which is pretty funny as someone who loves them. I am also a white human. I have blue hair. It's about chin length. Today, I'm wearing some of my favorite earrings. They are white cane earrings, and I'm wearing a black top and have a couple different pairs of headphones in. Now, I know you live in the Twin Cities, Caden. How are you doing up there with all of the ICE violence and everything going on?
Yeah. I am hanging in there the best I can. Um, some of the ice violence has been in the neighborhood I live in and
Mm.
neighboring neighborhoods. So I've been a little bit more cautious of uh, interacting with some of the outside world because sometimes I cannot always tell who's there to help and who's not.
Mm.
Um, but I'm just really glad that people are not staying quiet. I don't think it's the first time people in the Twin Cities area are coming out in force to say no.
Yeah, as I'm down here in Columbia, Missouri, and I've certainly listened to a lot of reels and the news, and it's been um, scary to hear about what's going on, but so inspiring to get to hear how the community of the Twin Cities is showing up. But yeah, that's got to be extra frightening when you can't see what people look like and what's happening and just hear all
Mhm.
the noise. Um, I should mention for those of you who don't know me that I am blind, like Caden, although not like Caden as well, because we're all different. So, um, and speaking of blindness, January 4th was World Braille Day. It's the anniversary of the birthday of Louis Braille. And this month is Braille Literacy Month. Caden, what's your relationship with Braille?
Yeah, I really enjoy using Braille nowadays. That wasn't always the case because I grew up with 20/20 vision and then started losing my vision. So it was a bit of a struggle for me initially starting out with uh, print and then transitioning over to Braille. Um, and Braille has just made my life a lot easier because I can do a lot more things than I thought I could with it, such as label groceries, read all the books that I need to for seminary, and uh, be able to read some of the uh, audible pedestrian signals that are around the Twin Cities that also have Braille on them. So I know exactly what street I'm at.
That's awesome. Do you use a professional Braille display?
Yes, I do. And I
Nice.
really enjoyed the Braille display that I have because it can keep up with all the different languages that I need for study, which is not just English.
That sounds intense. Yeah, I bet you have uh, a lot that you're going through there for seminary, a lot of books.
Hmm.
Um,
Although
now,
Hebrew and Greek and Braille is a lot easier than the print versions, I should say.
wow, wow. Well, I look forward to getting more into your scholarship
Hmm.
there here in a little bit. How did you come to be involved in Unitarian Universalism?
I was introduced to Unitarian Universalism about 16 years ago. A friend brought me to a UU congregation in Salt Lake City, which was the neighboring city to where I grew up. I was in the latter half of high school at the time, and I had no idea what Unitarian Universalism was because small town, Utah, not a lot of variety. Um, but it allowed me to connect with other people who have similar progressive theological values.
Very cool. As a yo-yo, what has your accessibility experience been like?
Um, Most of the accessibility has been a little rough around the edges
Mm,
um, because I prefer being able to read things in Braille, and not a lot of congregations know that Braille hymnals exist.
mm,
And I've only been to two congregations uh, that have Braille hymnals,
mm.
and I've been to a fair number of UU congregations. Um, and I've been able to access a lot of the material via the internet, but some of the in-person stuff, it's a little bit more challenging when I can't read the print or signs or anything, or the printed version, anyways. But
Yeah. When you can't use Braille, I guess you probably use a screen reader like I do, at least when things are available that way, right?
yes, I do.
But then, like you're saying, not everything's even available that way because there's printed materials, signs, things like
Hmm.
that.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I'm guessing I know the answer since we're talking about accessibility, but can you tell me how you got involved with Equal Access, where you serve on the board?
I found out about equal access through one of the uh, folks I met while I was living in Salt Lake City. She let me know about equal access, and I also found out that they were looking for a new board member. Uh, my friend encouraged me to apply, and I did. I uh, was one of several people uh, EqUUal Access board members interviewed, and I think they liked me enough to say, come on aboard.
That's great. What's your experience been like? What do you do with equal access?
I do a few different things with EqUUal Access. I uh, help out with the annual sermon contest.
Mhm.
I read through the sermons individuals submit, and as a group, we decide which ones are uh, should be recognized and which ones uh, uh, will receive the uh, award for that year's uh, sermon contest.
Hmm.
I have also uh, helped out with some of the uh, uh, board meeting uh, events, like strategizing what we're going to be doing in the future, where we're at now, um, and also hosting the annual Equal Access celebration. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Mhm.
And equal access advocates for disability rights or greater accessibility within Unitarian Universalism. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Cool. Um, I guess I should divulge here for anyone who doesn't know, as a staff member at the UUA, I am the staff liaison to the Board of Equal Access. So I, of course, don't vote or anything, but sit in on their meetings and help out however I can in bridging uh, between them and our staff at the UUA. So, as we mentioned earlier, you are a student at the United Theological Seminary of the Twin Cities, which is so cool, or at least right now, very cold. Um, and was curious. It's my understanding is you study disability theology, among probably other things they make you study. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about, for especially lay folks listening, how would you describe disability theology? What could you tell us about it?
Sure. Disability theology really looks at uh, sacred texts and representations of disability in those sacred texts. It also explores different interpreting methods for sacred texts and traditions and rituals that come up based on uh, these texts and cultures. It's also quite specific to uh, which religious tradition someone is coming from.
Mm,
Uh, Most of the published work has been from a Protestant Christian perspective.
mhm,
There are more uh, books and academic articles now that come at uh, disability theology from other religious traditions. Um, and most of those uh, traditions uh, come from the Abrahamic faiths, so Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
mm.
There's also been a little bit of a movement in developing what disability theology is for other religious traditions where uh, like different cultures and religious traditions don't have the same setup as a lot of uh, Western cultures do of having a dichotomy or binary between able-bodiedness and disabled bodies. It's
Mm,
a little bit more mushy.
okay. Well, that being said, how would you describe your own disability theology? Your own thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would describe my own disability theology as being uh, very interconnected and recognizing mutual flourishing between all existence. The way I kind of think about it from at least one of the perspectives that or religious identities that I hold uh, outside of Unitarian Universalism is through math mysticism.
Mm,
The way I kind of think about it is that we're all variables in each other's lives, and
mm.
that we need each other to solve the common equation that we live in.
Well, I have to admit, as someone who hates math, that actually sounds really beautiful. Um, Give me a whole new perspective there.
Yes, there are math nerds in seminary.
Say it again.
There are math nerds in seminary, I being one of them.
Uh, I was always a book nerd when I was in school, but that is really beautiful. Um, I love your perspective.
Thank you.
Now, I, and Reverend Dr. Kimmy Floyd-Bryce facilitated the Uplift Access uh, Wave cohort this past fall, and we had a group there where we discussed not only the moment we're in and its implications, but how we meet that moment. And with everything going on in the world, in our lives, and everywhere, as you said, that talking about our interconnectedness, how, if you had to answer how we meet that moment as you use, what would you say?
I would say that disabled people are a part of the congregations we all go to and interact with. A lot of disabled folks don't have readily apparent disabilities, but have access needs, as well as the folks who have more visible disabilities. And I think uh, the moment that we're in calls us to really uh, assess what those access needs are and move beyond saying we're going to include people to acting upon how do we help people feel like they belong.
Mm. Sounds kind of like not just people always use the table metaphor. So not
Mhm.
just making sure people can sit at the table, but how can they engage at the table and participate at the table and feel like they belong at the table.
Exactly. And like they can share their perspectives at the table just like everybody else.
Nice. Well, thank you for that. Before we end, is there anything else that you wish I would have asked you or that you'd like to share?
Um, I think the only thing I would like to share is that uh, disability theology is still relatively new in like scholarly academic stuff, and it's also still kind of new in a lot of religious congregations.
Mm.
And I just encourage folks to uh, search what the scholars are saying and what uh, things we can do together to make uh, including disabled folks uh, more hospitable and make uh, it shift the culture from we're just going to do this out of the goodness of our own hearts to you have really good ideas. Come on
Mm.
in.
Mm. That sounds like a great way to meet the moment.
Hmm.
Well, Kaden, thank you so much for taking some time out of your studies to meet with me and chat. Really grateful for you and for your words today. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And yeah, keep uh, watching for what comes next with Uplift Access. Thank you so much.
Thank you.